Good morning, this is Mr. Willie in West Virginia, and it is the 12th of May. And again, this is probably the last day of nursing week, so I want to show some love to my nurse friends. God bless you, God keep you, God help you to not get burned out, okay? I'm going to share one scripture, maybe a couple scriptures, and this is probably going to be pretty quick because the time of day is when usually my phone starts ringing and it interrupts the recording of the video, so I got to do this quick. I found a scripture this morning when I woke up this morning. Actually, a scripture was in my spirit. Excuse me. It says in Psalms, or possibly, no, maybe it's Proverbs. Yeah, it is Proverbs. Proverbs, hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all sin. In some versions, it says love covers a multitude of sins. I just want to share with you, as far as, I talk to a lot of people that are in relationships, and sometimes we kind of get into things where we're fighting with people, not so much because we're married, but just things pop up. I had a young lady call me last night, text me last night, wanted me to pray for her because she had gotten into a fight with one of her neighbors. And hatred stirs up strife. You know, we have things that cause us to be very spiteful or hateful, and stuff bubbles up, and next you know we're in the middle of a situation. But scripture says love covers a multitude of sin. So this is a picture of what love does. It covers a multitude of sins. When something's covered up, you can't see it. When Adam and Eve sinned in the garden, what they attempted to do, when God came to walk in the cool of the day with them and they hid themselves, he says, where are you guys? He knew where they're at, but he wanted them to locate where they were at. He said, where are you? And Adam says, we heard your voice and we were afraid, so we were hiding. And in attempts to hide their sin, their shame, they stitched fig leaves and covered themselves. And this is why this has always been a representation. Fig leaves are a representation of our own efforts to cover ourselves. We all, when we get in situations where we're fighting or we're having some strife, we try and cover ourselves. We try and it's almost like we're in a boxing match and we're trying to cover up so that we don't get hit. And in doing that, we're trying our best to defend ourselves from whatever's coming our way. And it says that love covers a multitude of sins. So if you're loving people, you don't have to worry about covering up, and we all have problems with it. You know what? We all get into situations where we're not loving. I've been married and divorced several times, but I want to tell you, one of the things that I learned from the very beginning was find a really, really, really trustworthy friend that won't pick sides. And I have a best friend who doesn't pick sides, and share your feelings and pray about it, and then trying to get to a place to where you're loving no matter what. Because that's what God said. When Jesus says, deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow him, he's saying you've got to get to a point to where you love even though people are attacking you, even though people may not understand your side. And Jesus didn't defend himself. It says that he went to the cross without a word. He didn't defend himself. He didn't try and defend himself. He went to the cross willingly for the joy that was set before him, which was us. He went quietly and didn't defend himself. We're talking he was the Son of God. If you could ever have an argument, not only that, he was perfect. He wasn't guilty. He was innocent. How many of you, even when you're guilty, are trying to figure out a way to defend yourself in a situation? How many of us, don't want to say you, how many of us try and defend ourselves instead of just holding our peace? I did a video this week about holding your peace. If you can learn how to hold your peace and not let your mouth open up and say some things that you don't need to say, you'll be better off. But love is the key to success in most things. If you can learn how to love people, even in the midst of, and I've been in some pretty tricky situations with relationships to where love was the only answer for me, or my heart would have become very dark and very hateful. And you don't want to get there. And And I know some of you are in tricky situations. I mean, I counsel with people, I talk to people, I see people on Facebook, I see some of the things. And I just want to encourage you guys, you know what? Little innuendos and little things you're saying, finding little memes that kind of say what you want to say without you saying it about a person is still not loving. It's still kind of being let me get my dig in, let me get my dig in, let me get my dig in. Facebook has opened up a whole new world of showing how we can be offended and try and be slick by trying to cover it, but we're still saying what we want to say out loud. You're just not using names. We need to watch that, okay? And that's my word for the day for some of you that are struggling. You know what? I encourage people to kind of seek out their heart, see what's really going on in their own heart, because I've been there. And I know how hurt you can get, how you can feel betrayed, how you can feel abandoned and just deserted and just used up. Jesus felt it all. The whole weight of everything we've ever done wrong was all placed on him at the cross. And he never complained. He didn't say, "This isn't fair, God." At one point, he realized that his Father had to forsake him because of the amount of sin that we placed upon him. But he did it. And then he said, "It is finished." The sins of the world, all the ugly, dark stuff that humanity has been placed on me. And when I die, it dies with me. That's why we do baptism, because you're supposed to, when you're baptized, that old man, you're supposed to go into the water, stay in the water, and you're supposed to come back up renewed. I've been baptized 3 times because there's different levels of knowledge of what it all meant. The last time I was baptized in a pool at a pastor friend's house, and I told him, I said, "Put me down and hold me down until I yank on your pants, because I want to make sure that I leave every bit of the old Willie in that water, okay? You let me up when he's totally dead." And you know what? That began a process of me really seeking out being renewed. We try not to be conformed to this world, but unfortunately so many of us are conformed to this world that we just feel like we have a right to complain. We have a right to be whatever, to argue and fuss and fight. Jesus didn't fuss and fight. Not even when they were taking him in the garden. Paul picked up a sword to defend him, and he says, "Put the sword down. You that live by the sword will die by the sword. This is something I've got to do. You don't understand it right now, but you will later." And they did. And we do now. Jesus had to die. And you know what? I'm sorry to tell you this, but you have to too if you're going to follow God, okay? Scripture says, deny yourself, pick up your cross, and follow him. You do that by loving unconditionally. He did it because he loved us. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life. It's all about life for us, following him. Okay, I'm going to get off here. I love you guys. And you know what? More importantly, I can say I love you and you might believe it. But you know what? I want to tell you one thing. I say I love you, but God has proved that he loves you. Okay? Have a great day. Shalom.